What's poppin' T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea All Shade Power Book for Force Season 1 Episode 9 review. I want to thank all of you who checked in and viewed my interview with Love and Marriage DC reality star Ashley Silva. Thank you guys for watching it. The season premiere of Love and Marriage DC starts May 14th. Before then, actually next Friday, I have an interview with Irena and Jamie Tyler, who will also be featured as main cast members on the show. So make sure you guys tune in next Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time for my interview with Love and Marriage DC cast members Irena and Jamie Tyler. Now let's get into tonight's review of Force. So we start off with Vic basically in a catatonic state in the emergency room. He has a sling on his arm. He was shot in the chest. He is just mentally just messed up because Gloria passed away on the last episode. We then see his father walk in, and Walter hates to see his son visibly distraught and just messed up. And Vic was like, are you happy that she's dead? Like, you got what you want? And he was like, obviously not. Like, I would never want to see my son in such a bad state. But more importantly, I am happy that you are alive. Like, basically, if he had to choose between the two of him, of course he would want his son alive. So Walter also then goes on to say that the Serbs were the one who pulled the hit. And so he says that he's going to hit him with everything that they got. Walter then goes on to say that Tommy was a part of the hit and was helping the Serbs to set him up. Vic at first doesn't believe it. And, he told his father that, he was looking out for me. He, told me that you were trying to put a hit out on Gloria. And Walter was like, you think I would put you through this? It makes more sense for him to break you down and make me weak. Gloria chose you over him. So, Vic is in a distraught state, so he's willing to blame anybody for him but himself for what happened to Gloria. And Walter was 10% lying, because he did make that statement to Tommy that he would do something to Gloria if she didn't get out of Dodge. So they both then decide they're going to go after Tommy and the Serbs. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. And you know what's funny about the power of franchise is that with all the shows, it's the same thing. Everybody gets into it because nobody talks to each other. Like, because all it had to be was a phone call. They didn't call each other for everything else. Why wouldn't you just pick up the phone and say, hey, did you do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, they do that with every one of the shows. It's because certain things are not being discussed. And so people then go to assuming, and then out comes this crazy war. And I wish that they would do something different with the storylines instead of just doing this whole thing about nobody talks to each other, so everybody assumes and they assume the worst, and then that starts a war. I wish they would do something different on the shows, because that has become a pattern. So Tommy texts Gloria and says that, he hoped that she made it out of town safe. He hasn't heard from her. He meets with his nephew D-Mac at this like little underground room that he found, and D-Mac is in there counting all of the money that is being made off of Dahlia, because we learned that he is a genius with numbers. So of course he still hasn't told D-Mac that he is his uncle, and that he knows that JP is his father. So they're talking and everything, and Tommy tells D-Mac that he reminds him of somebody who always had their face in the book, and that person is now deceased. So of course he was talking about ghosts. And I was like, okay, every episode we got to have a ghost reference. Okay, we get it. The man is dead. Jesus Christ. So Tommy, breaks it down to him. It was like, you could do anything with your life. Like, you are smart. Like, you do not need to be doing this. You don't need to be doing something that's going to end up getting you killed. And, basically D-Mac was on some, I'm a street nigga. Like, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? But, Tommy instilled that in him. So hopefully after what happened in tonight's episode, he will now, in fact, listen to his uncle. So JP is at Miriam's house, I believe, with his father. And he tells his dad that, his grandmother dying is like another piece missing for him, because he didn't even get a chance to really get to know her. And he also tells his father that he reached out to Kate. And the daddy was like, I was waiting for you to finally say it. And so he goes on to say that, he didn't really get much from her from the conversation, and that he thought like hearing her voice would change things for him. And it honestly didn't. And I was like, I understand his wants and his needs, but I'm like, dude, everybody was warning you for a reason. You don't even understand the can of worms you have opened up. You have literally opened up Pandora's box by hitting up Kate. Like, Kate is going to come to Chicago and ruin everything. Please believe on the season finale episode is probably going to close out with Kate ass arriving in fucking Chicago, ready to fuck up the whole damn thing. So his father was like, she ain't gonna give you what you looking for. Like, she really not. She gonna make your life a living hell. So JP was like, basically, I'm gonna find Darnell and I'm gonna be in his life, like, because that is my actual family. Like, I'm gonna do what I need to do to get my shit together. So Liliana meets up with Tommy, and she peeps that, he's off, like he's distracted, and he denies it and plays like nothing is bothering him. But we all know that he is worried about Gloria because she has not hit him back. So we find out that Liliana is supposed to be dropping off some Dahlia to Walter's house. Now, that didn't play out in this episode, so maybe that's going to play out in next week's episode. So then we see Claude dropping off product to the nightclub because, that's going to be her high-end market that she is in charge of. Now, the girl that she had dropped Dahlia off gets back into the car with her, and, she's a lesbo, and they both was hot in the ass, and they pussies was purring. So they up in the car making out, and she about to finger her in the car and everything. Into her phone rings, and it's her father. She answered the phone. She like, I'm busy right now. What is it? And he was like, Vic's been shot. Get your ass the fuck home. And she was like, oh, bitch, you got to get the fuck out. She was like, get the fuck out. The girl looking like, really, bitch? You almost had your fingers in my coochie and you telling me to get the fuck out. So the girl get out the car and slam the door, and Claude speeds the fuck off. So she gets to the house and they go into the office. By the way, I was so happy that on episode 8, we finally got to see other areas of the mansion. I was like, somebody on the writing team must have realized by the time they got to episode 8 that we have not shown no other room in this house but this goddamn office, this dreary ass, dark ass office. I was so happy about that. So she goes home and talks to her father, and he tells her that Gloria'S dead, and she kind of fucked up behind it. And he tells her to, tell Vic that family always comes together, especially during hard times. So Vic goes outside to talk to Claude. Vic. Claude goes outside to talk to Vic by the pool, and they drinking and thinking and all that stuff. And Vic tells her that Tommy was behind the hit, and Claudia was like, that don't really sound like it, because if he really wanted you dead, he would have been dead by now. And Vic was like, he never respected me. And Claude is still like, no, I don't really know about that, because she knows Tommy, of course, more than anybody because she's working with him, but nobody in her family knows this. So Vic was like, whose side are you on? He told me Dad was putting a hit on Gloria. He gave me a decoy car. He told me to take the back rows and this, that, and the third. And she was like, well, did you listen? He was like, nah. And so she was like, well, but like I said, he does not want to take responsibility for the fact that he didn't listen, and that's what got Gloria killed. So Walter walks up and asks Vic tells him that she doesn't think that it was Tommy. And Walter basically tells Claude that she either with them or against them. So, she kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place because she getting all this money and she doing business with Tommy, and she really don't think that he had anything to do with it. But she has this loyalty to her family as well, even though her father has treated her like shit in the past. But at the end of the day, they are blood. So Liliana tells Tommy that Vic was hit, and he like, damn, really? So he was like, was there anybody else in the car? And she was like, I don't know. I ain't heard nothing about it being nobody else in the car. She does make it clear that, Vic is alive and well. And she also tells him that it was the Serbians that hit them. Tommy was like, I don't know if I believe it. And so we see him make a call. Then we see Walter tell Claude that he wants her in the war room as they're discussing how they gonna hit back at the Serbians and Tommy, and that he needs her by his side and he wants to make things right if she'll let him. And this was the first time we have really truly seen in this episode period, this was the first time we've truly seen Walter be vulnerable and caring and loving to his children. I think this really opened his eyes, almost losing Vic, that he needs to be more loving and gentle instead of just throwing a hammer down. So of course, Claude is just an eager beaver. That is all she has ever wanted to hear. So she like, I'm down with you. I got you. You ain't got to worry, doll. Like, it is what it is. Like, she has finally gotten everything that she ever wanted. She getting the money, and now she's gotten her father's approval, which she is, like I said, always wanted. But he tells her, there's one thing I need for you to do for me. Keep an eye on your brother. Don't let him near Egan. I'm gonna kill Egan and all of those Serbs. So then she gets a text message from Tommy, and the daddy was like, go ahead and handle your business. She was like, no, I'm staying here. Like, the only thing that matters to me is my family. And so now she really on some like fuck Tommy type shit, because she's finally gotten her father's approval. And I was like, once again, all it is a question that you gotta ask a person, did you have my brother hit? And all this would be solved. So then Vic tells Walter that he wants to put the past behind them and basically start anew. And Walter says that, him making the decision to run off with Gloria was basically a little boy move, and he's going to show him how to make man moves at this point. So at this point, we're basically going to see, moving forward, Vic turn into a monster. He don't have the love of his life anymore. Now he can basically do whatever his father wants of him because he's empty on the inside. He basically has nothing to live for now that Gloria is gone, so he not gonna give a fuck about nothing. And so season 2, he's really gonna be a problem moving forward. So Uncle Paulie notices that Walter is in pretty good spirits for somebody who almost just lost his son. And, he's happy because he got Gloria out the way. He has, his children by his side. He now has everything that he's always wanted. And he tells, so Walter then tells Paulie that we about to go hard against these Serbs. And Walter Paulie like, dude, I already told you we don't have enough manpower for this shit. Like, what the fuck don't you get? And he was like, oh, I know. That's why I called in the 4 horsemen. And I was like, who in the fuck is the 4 horsemen? I want to meet them immediately. So Uncle Paulie was looking like, you done called in a what? Like, that's taking it a bit far. He was like, you sure you want to do this? He was like, look, my nigga, make the motherfucking phone call. And once again, we are seeing Uncle Paulie being the voice of reason, like, you need to fucking listen. And I feel like at some point, Uncle Paulie is going to get sick of Walter and his rash, erratic decisions, and he's going to end up turning against Walter. So JP is at the lab with Liliana, and we see him try to call Kate, but the phone is disconnected. So he like, the fuck? But we all know Kate is on her way, child. So Tommy goes by Gloria'S bar to see if she's in there, but nobody's in there. So now he's really worried. He calls her again and she doesn't answer. So he really mentally fucked up. So then he goes to the lab, and once again, he's kind of distracted, and Liliana is peeping it, but he plays it off like nothing is wrong. And then he gives JP and the chemist their payment for the week. JP then makes a statement that, once he gets caught up on all his debts, that, this ain't got to stop. I could continue to work for you. And Tommy was like, fuck to the no. We already discussed this. Once you get yourself out of debt, sir, you're going to skirt your ass on the fuck up out of here. Like, JP want to be a drug dealer so motherfucking bad. Nigga, if you don't sit your 4-eyed ass out somewhere and sit the fuck down. So Tommy, then calls Claudia. Once again, she does not answer the phone, so he really vexed at this point. Then we see D-Mac, taking a stroll, and he runs into Marshall. And he looking like, nigga, what the fuck you want? And so Marshall was like, yo, I fucked up. You know, Jannard and them basically cut me out the deal with my cousin, and he feels bad for what he did to him. He was like, oh, now you feel bad because they did to you what you did to me. So D-Mac, so what's the little nigga name? Marshall was like, okay, just hit me. You know, hit me then. I deserve it. And so D-Mac pretends like he gonna hit him, and he flinches. He was like, look at your puss ass nigga. They end up making up, and then they make up a plan to get back at CBI. And I was like, you two little knuckleheads don't know when to sit the fuck down. I was like, now y'all about to cause even more ruckus. So JP tells Tommy that, you know, he called Kate. And Tommy freaks the fuck out and goes off on him and was like, do you know what the fuck you just did? He was like, did you tell her where I was at? Like, dude, like, you don't know what you just did. I told you to leave it the fuck alone. Tommy goes the fuck off on him. And JP just standing there looking stupid in the face. Then we see the white cop shake Sheamus down and tell him that he need 50 G's by that Friday, or he gonna tell, you know, their bosses and everybody in the unit that, you know, he a crooked cop. So dude was like, fuck, like now his back is really up against the wall. So then we see the 4 horsemen arrive in Chicago with all of their artillery, and I was so excited. Like, I am an action girl. I love to see some shots being fired and fighting and violence and stabbing. Like, they better make sure that they make these 4 horsemen dudes that deal. If they fuck this up like they normally do, when it comes to the villains or the antagonists, they always paint them out to be so hard, and then they're easily killed. And if they make these 4 horsemen dudes easy to kill in the season finale, I'm going to be pissed off. Like, y'all done hyped them up like they are just the motherfucking bee's knees. They better come in blasting on niggas and killing motherfuckers without no motherfucking sweat, like, period. I would actually like to see the season finale episode just be a full-on war. The whole episode is just like the whole episode. I would have made it one big ass war, like on some Game of Thrones type shit. But you know, over there at Power, they ain't bright enough to think about no shit like that. So Tommy tells Liliana that Claudia is ghosting him, and you know, she was like, shit, we could pick the bitch up and beat the shit out of her and find out what's going on. And so she then hips him to the fact that, you know, some hitters from Dublin is in town. So Tommy's still thinking that Walter done called these dudes in for the Serbs. He don't even know that they thinking that he had something to do with this whole Vic situation. Jannard and Blackston is at the shop downstairs in the basement talking about Tommy being behind Dahlia, and how Jannard was like, he couldn't believe that Diamond was, you know, so taken by this nigga and this, that, and the third. Little do they know, Diamond comes into the shop. They don't even hear him come in. He overhears them downstairs in the basement, so he creeps over to the door and is listening to their conversation, and he overhears them talking about getting all of Dahlia for themselves. And then Jannard tells Blackston, you know, when I called you up here, I knew that you was going to be the one to help me overthrow Diamond. He was like, you know, fuck Diamond. You know, I made him think that, you know, he got his seat back, but fuck that nigga. This, that, and the third. And so Diamond is looking like, damn, really? My brother? Like, damn. And he was like, fuck him. Like, I don't give a fuck about that nigga. Like, I kill that nigga. So they end up coming upstairs, and Diamond comes out the back with his smock on and act like he didn't even know they was downstairs. And so they play it off and say, I didn't even know you was up here. So Diamond ends up telling them that, you know, things is kind of moving slow right about now when it comes to the coke or whatever that they slanging, but things will pick up soon. And Jannard was like, yeah, I feel you on that. And they give each other a hug. And I was like, child, if this ain't Cain and Abel. So I don't know if they're going to kill Jannard off in the season finale. I don't know. I know that somebody else is going to end up dying in the season finale, of course. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily Jannard. I feel like we still need that antagonist moving forward in season 2. But we will see them go head up. Or at least Jannard finds out that Diamond knows that he don't give a fuck about him, and then next season they'll be at war with each other. So Tommy goes to see Claude at her penthouse in the sky that's always dark, and asks her about, you know, the mob coming in town, and asks her how Vicky is, and she was like, oh, you gonna act like you don't know? So that she then confronts him about, you know, setting up Vic, and he was like, girl, I ain't had shit to do with that. Like, I tried to help your brother. The fuck is you talking about? So she don't believe him. She was like, was anybody else in the car? And she was like, yeah, Gloria. And that's when he finds out that Gloria got murked. And, you know, he kind of like tear up for a quick second, but you know, Tommy a G, so he can't show no thug tears. So he tells her, no, he asked her who said he was behind this shit. And she was like, her daddy. And he was like, you need to consider your motherfucking source, bitch, because your daddy don't tell y'all every motherfucking thing. So as he's leaving, pissed the fuck off, Claude was like, you might want to watch your back. So at that point, he's figured out that the Dublin dudes is there for his ass. So he like, fuck. So then we see Sheamus run up on Diamond at the shop with a gun, places the gun behind his head, and shakes him down for some money. So Diamond leads him to the safe downstairs. Of course, it's a gun in the safe, but Sheamus is able to get the gun before Diamond can get a hold to it. But Diamond kind of like talks to him a little bit and lets him know that, yeah, I never expected for this to be my life. Like, I never thought I was gonna grow up to be a criminal or whatever. He was like, but at the end of the day, we two young black men that are on the same side of the fence now. It don't matter that you got a police badge, nigga, you just as dirty as I am. But of course, Sheamus ain't trying to hear that right about now. He tells him that, you know, he's being blackmailed and that he needs 100K. Diamond was like, shit, I'll give you 150K. So it's obvious that moving forward, him and Sheamus are going to end up working with each other, and they're going to find out a way to get rid of the white boy. But they're going to end up working with each other, and Sheamus will end up being his plug to, you know, the police. Diamond talks to Adrian, his little boo thing at the diner, about his day and how he overheard or some shit about somebody that he thought he knew but realized that he didn't know him. And of course he's talking about Jannard, and she tells him that, you know, she's falling for him. And I was like, oh, that's cute. I think she's gonna end up getting killed at some point or whatever. Well, we'll see. I would like for them to actually show Diamond in a long-lasting relationship with somebody, so hopefully they don't kill her off no time soon. He then spots Tommy over her shoulder outside, so he excuses himself and meets up with Tommy outside, and Tommy tells him that Walter thinks that he was the one that hit Victor and that he need his help. He was like, look, I need all your manpower, I need guns. And Diamond was like, girl, I know you lying. Diamond was like, girl, I already helped you once. We barely made it out that shit. I am not going back to jail for you or nobody else. Good luck, boo-boo. And Tommy was like, shit, all I could do was ask. But, you know, he understood, like, this man just got out of jail after doing 15 years. So then Tommy goes to see Mikovich. And I was like, this who you gonna go to? So now, of course, it's gonna really make it seem like he was in on this shit from the beginning. But I was like, when him and Mikovich get on good enough terms that he can even go to him and ask him for this type of help? Maybe it's something I'm missing and that I forgot about. But he's goes to Mikovich and tells him that he need an army and artillery. So Mikovich was like, shit, you need my help, I need 1.5 million. Tommy was like, done. That's chump change, my nigga. Like, the fuck? So Tommy then tells him that, you know, Walter is coming for him, and that he'll give him an extra 500,000 if he tells him who did the hit on Vic. And at first, dude didn't want to tell him, but he was like, look, it was a woman in that car that was innocent. So then he was like, it was old boy Twin. And so Tommy looked over his shoulder like, this motherfucker? So then he gets up and he walks over to the Twin, and he was like, when I killed your brother, I didn't get to see his face. Dude tried to step up like he was going to do something, and Tommy shot that nigga underneath his chin and blew that nigga head off and told Mikovich, I'll be back with your money. I was like, Tommy, that was some G shit. So then Tommy goes back to his crib and empties out his stash. D-Mac and Marshall then run up on Marshall's cousin, who treats them like they ain't shit. He don't even give a fuck that little nigga that little nigga is his cousin. He was like, nigga, don't be pulling up on me like that. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'll kill all of y'all. So D-Mac and Marshall then end up telling him that, you know, we got product for you. Like, we know how to get you that Dahlia. And dude was like, too late. Jannard already gave me the plug. And they was like, if Jannard had more, he would have gave you more than that sample. So they then show him more product in their book bag. And so they was like, look, we gonna be your connect now. So he was like, bet, I want 4 bricks of that shit by the next day. And if you don't give it to me, you motherfuckers is gonna be DOA. So they kind of looking at each other like, I don't know if this was a smart idea. And I'm looking like, do you not know that Jannard is gonna fucking kill y'all young asses? Like, what the fuck was y'all thinking? Like, that was not a smart idea at all. So Claude then rolls up to the Serbians' little bar that they be hanging out at. And as she's walking up, she sees Tommy and Milkovich outside talking. So she automatically thinks that her father was telling the truth and that Tommy was working with Milkovich from the beginning. So of course she runs back home to tell her daddy and Vic that they were right. So she then dedicates herself to the family, and so does Vic, and Walter could not be more satisfied. So Jannard tells Blackston that Marshall and D-Back, you know, basically took Gary away from them. So Jannard thinks that D-Mac was working with Tommy all along, ever since he asked D-Mac to kill Tommy. He's thinking now that they was working with each other from the jump. So now he really on some shit where he about to kill Jannard. Where he about to kill D-Mac, Marshall, and Tommy. And I was like, everybody's just against everybody and everybody's gonna die. So D-Mac meets up with Tommy back at their little spot where he count the money, and he all hype. He was like, look, he was like, I got something to tell you. And Tommy was like, no, I got something to tell you. And so he was like, no, let me go first. And so he tells Tommy that he hooked them up with Gary from Gary, Indiana to sell Dahlia. He was like, the fuck you do what? Like, nobody told you to do that. First of all, I already told you your ass don't need to be even involved in this shit. Did you tell them my name? Did they follow you here? And he like, I don't know. And so Tommy is pissed the fuck off and going off on him and everything. And then he was like, look, I gotta protect you because I know that you JP's son. And so at that point, he looking like, what? How the fuck you know that? And so he was like, I know because I'm your uncle. And then that's when D-Mac pulls his gun off on Tommy like he gonna kill him. And Tommy was like, look, I know you're not gonna kill me because you not no fucking killer. He was like, look, dude, like, you better than this. D-Mac then run off, and I was like, ooh, he gonna cry in the car. So then Tommy follows him back to his crib, and we see him sitting with that little case that he keeps outside with, you know, pictures and of his father and his gun. And so Tommy tells him that they gonna go tell JP together about him being his son. And D-Mac was like, how you think he gonna react? And he was like, hopefully not the same way you reacted. So as they're walking across the street, I'm like, some shit about to go down. Somebody about to get hit. And of course it's gonna be D-Mac. And if they kill D-Mac off this show, I am done. So as they're walking across the street, D-Mac was like, I'm not about to be calling you no Uncle Tommy neither. And then that's when it was blah, 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 blah. Tommy was busting. He killed one of them niggas. But of course, D-Mac got hit in the stomach. And he was like, Uncle Tommy. But you just said 5 seconds ago you weren't going to be calling him Uncle Tommy. So he bleeding out. Tommy picks him up, takes him to the emergency room. And then next thing we see is JP meeting him outside the emergency room. And he sees blood all over Tommy. He was like, what the fuck? He was like, no, it's not my blood. He was like, oh, well, shit. What the fuck am I doing here? And he was like, you know, that little dude that's been shooting up your club. He was like, yeah. He was like, he was the one that got hit. And so JP was like, shit, okay, like that's all up on that little nigga. He was like, nah, that's your son. And he was like, the fuck? So then Tommy shows him the picture of them, and of course he breaks down and cries. And he was like, how long have you known this? He was like, I've known for a minute, but I was just trying to figure out the right time to tell you. And JP was like, no, motherfucker, you should have told me the minute you found out. Now I gotta see my son on life support trying to fight for his life. He was like, man, fuck this. So JP runs into the emergency room to go see D-Mac. And then We see the Flynn's meet up with the four horsemen, and they looking like, what is Claude doing here? Like, she's a woman, she doesn't need to be involved in this. But Walter makes it known that she will be involved because they need their smarts, because they need her smarts. And for once, he's sticking up for his daughter, which of course is going to make her dedicate herself to her father even more. And the episode goes off, and next week it's wartime. I really wish that they would be on some Game of Thrones type shit and just have the whole episode be like Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones. That'll be some shit. So I'm looking forward to the season finale to see how everything is going to shake out. I think that somebody big is going to end up dying. I don't know if it's going to be Jannard or Blackston or somebody. I do feel like Diamond is going to end up helping Tommy in some type of way. I think that in the season finale, Jannard will know that Diamond knows that, he's against him. I think that D-Mac will of course pull through. Kate is of course going to arrive probably in the last 5 seconds of the episode, and that a line will be drawn in the sand between Tommy and the Flynn's. I think it's going to be too late though for Claude when she realizes that Tommy in fact was not working with the Serbs, but the fact that she didn't believe him and helped her father, of course, is going to ruin their business relationship. So I don't know how this Dahlia situation is going to break down next season, but that'll be part of the big storyline, how they're going to break up Dahlia. Tommy being at war with Vic and Walter. I want to see more of Liliana because I love her character. She's funny as shit. They better not kill her ass off no time soon or at all. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Let's talk down below. Let's see what you guys thought about episode 9. And what do you guys think is going to happen in the season finale? Make sure to thumbs up this video, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.